How involved do you think Mephisto's going to be in this show?
Not very.
Just a throwaway line?
I think it will just be a throwaway line. Maybe that's when they do the Ouija board.
Oh, yeah.
So they're saying different names of demons.
Yep.
Mephisto.
Yep. You're right. You're right.
Welcome back to the break room. It's Halloween.
Stop him.
And then the Rockstars office is already, which, it's already time for our Agatha All Along predictions. What will we get wrong? What will we get right? And what will be our white whale that Mephisto Gate comes to a close? I'm Erik Voss, and joining me here on the Breakroom set are two of my favorite people in the world.
What?
Jessica Clemons and John Costa. No, my hair isn't purple. You don't have to adjust that dial. I'm looking over here, and I should be looking here, right? No? Here?
I think you can look at anyone you want to.
Jessica snuck in here over the weekend and Halloweenified our set. So we got some purple lights. We got cobwebs. We got scary spiders on scarier skulls. Everywhere. Thank you. This looks so cool.
This is just, we wanted to do it before. Me and Evan's out because Evan's on vacation. Evan's on vacation or doing something. But we wanted to make sure that we did this before Agatha. And here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are. All the cobwebs. Do you know how hard it is to stretch these out? I forgot how hard it was to do cobweb decorations. I don't want to say what I knocked over and broke, but maybe you guys can find it in the background.
Okay, cool. That's fun.
So maybe y'all can figure it out in the background.
First time hearing about this.
It's nothing that's the set.
Oh.
But it might be a katana sword.
Did you just do that so that I would stop walking around the office barefoot? Because
no, it's not.
I like to take my shoes off.
It's not. You think I didn't pick it up?
I don't know. I stepped on something sharp.
Oh God, Shannon.
Hey, look. All of our audience in the break room thrilled to hear about you walking around our studio barefoot.
Yeah, with your little toes out, your little piggies.
Your little Voss toes.
Ew, I have some decorum. I like how
Brian's
I'm shoeless right now. I'm just wearing socks. Well, this is just for the
You
Twitch people, right?
No.
Oh.
I forgot to tell you guys we weren't doing that today.
Oh.
It's okay.
Maybe we should. Maybe we should roll it back.
You know what?
Is this worth putting
I don't filter myself depending on what audience is
One
listening.
take Voss.
What you
That's what
see
we
is
call
what
it.
you get. I don't do the thing of like I change my accent if I'm talking to a southern crowd, or I start referencing
Whoa.
deep dish pizza if I'm talking to a Chicago crowd. What you see is there's one flavor of Erik Voss, and everyone has to drink from
Just
the
vanilla.
same bottle.
Okay, Mario Lopez
Just
has a very
vanilla.
hard time, and he
Plain.
has to do both voices. Do you remember?
You said Mario Lopez?
Yeah, Mario Lopez.
What versus
Did you-
when he's at the Grove versus at the Americana?
Yeah, he does his white voice. He code switches, and everyone was like, "Wait, you code switch?" And he's like, "Yes, I code switch."
So do my
Wow.
Irish uncles, but that's a problem.
So hold on.
Anyways.
So the Americana, the Glendale one gets the whiter version of Mario Lopez, and the Grove gets the Latino version of
I think
Mario
I made that
Lopez.
up.
Is
I
that
think, no, I think it's just on TV. When he hangs out with his friends, he has like an actual, like he's authentically himself, and people are like, "Why is he doing an accent?" And he's like, "I naturally have this. I put on my white voice on camera."
Like that movie. What was that movie? Sorry to bother you. There we go.
Oh yeah,
Really
you
good
made
movie.
me. I forgot
movie.
the entire premise of that movie by the end of the film.
Hey, let's talk about Agatha.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Agatha. We have not seen the new season yet, but it'll be in our lives very soon. And we're gonna just like lock in our final predictions here. And we want to hear from you. What questions do you have for the season that you want to hear all of us lock in some theories on going into these episodes? And we kind of prepared some things that we're most curious about, and we'll be going through it, but we want to hear from you. Let's start this with a question right from the top of our minds. This show has been referred to as part of a trilogy concluding with Vision Quest. So that raises the question, will we see the Scarlet Witch on this series?
Do you want to
This is
be
the
more
question.
specific? Do you want to say whether? Do you want to be more specific? Do you think she's gonna physically show up, or flashbacks? You mean?
Ooh, no, I mean, Elizabeth Olsen had to show up on set
Yeah.
and do new production for this.
Yeah.
Like, she had to appear on set with everyone, not just like through archive footage and not just through like, you know, we've seen in the trailer the corpse in the woods that we think might be the body of but like, are we going to see her face? Are we going to see Elizabeth Olsen had to show up on set? Was she on a call sheet at some point for the show?
I think I'm going to go calm on this one and say absolutely not. But I want to channel what Gina's energy is and go as crazy as I can, like Robert Downey Jr. showing back up later and then get it. So right now I'm going to say no. But the next ones I'm going to probably choose a crazy one.
Yeah, this is really difficult, right? They someone at some point has come out and said she's not going to be in the show. I try to take that at face value as much as possible, but Andrew Garfield just lives rent-free in the back of my head at all times. I think that, like, what we'll see is the reveal of that dead body that has the W. Maximoff library card tag on it being someone else.
Okay.
William Maximoff with really dainty toes or something.
Oh,
like that.
They do another Ralph Boner joke, but it's like,
you're right.
It's gonna be like
maybe
Walt
they can't
Disney.
do that. Maybe they can't do
Well,
that.
it would be more of an homage than it would be just redoing the same thing. And if they only do that, that's the only thing they can take from the original, or from WandaVision. But I agree. I could see it being just like a random person named like Winchester.
Or Victoria Alonso.
Why would it be a V? It's a W.
No, it's Victoria Alonso. It's Marvel executive Victoria Alonso. They killed her on this show.
Dumped her body.
And they dumped her body in the woods and made it into a murder crime scene.
Do you know what would be filthy? If it was someone that was in visual effects that had the same initials and just did it for fun. That would be disgusting.
Victor Alonso. What
do you think, Eric?
I don't think we're going to see Elizabeth Olsen, only because they've had all these media appearances with everyone on the cast with Elizabeth Olsen herself, and I think they would have caught her at some point. She would have tripped up her words, and they have been, everyone on these junkets have been hounding them. They're like, so have you talked to anyone? Have you talked to Elizabeth about this? And they're like, yeah, we're on like a text thread with her, but I don't think she's going to be on the show. But I think Wanda as a character, as just an influence on this world, is going to be very important to the story. I just don't think we're going to see her.
Yeah.
I think we may see like a VFX version of an alternate Scarlet Witch from like history or something like that, like a historical demonic presence of the Scarlet Witch, but I don't think it's going to be Lizzie Olsen on set.
I love the art style of the depiction of the Scarlet Witch so much in the Darkhold. I would almost love to see a la Deathly Hallows, like an animated version of the origins of the Scarlet Witch or something cool.
There could be that could still happen, and there could still be a Scarlet Witch that's stuck on the Witch's Road that's not Elizabeth Olsen. And that's also what makes me kind of afraid, is just being like, there is no Scarlet Witch. There could be a Scarlet Witch. There could also just not be Elizabeth Olsen, and there could be a Scarlet Witch. Because what if there's a demon version of her that's seeping into the trees on the Witch's Road?
Yeah, we saw that great concept art with like her crown that was part of her flesh, or something
I love
like
that.
It could be like Agatha's nightmares coming to life,
exactly.
or something like that.
And that's why I'm like, I don't think it's Elizabeth Olsen though. Elizabeth Olsen, no, she is not coming back in. But that kind of imagery of the Scarlet Witch, I could see playing into it.
Can I ask a follow-up question to both of you? Do you think we'll get an answer about the sort of like life or death status of Wanda Maximoff in this show?
Oh. Yeah, I think they're going to talk about it a lot, because like even the executives and Brad Winderbaum and all them have been saying like we're going to talk about the Multiverse of Madness stuff. Like, so yeah, I think they're going to touch on it, and I think this season will end with a confirmation of yes or no, is she dead?
I agree.
Or is maybe she died in those events, but there's like another version of her that she's like mutated into.
Yeah, I agree. Especially if what is true online from that copyright office that she might get a movie, and it's still Jack Schaefer working on that movie, it makes sense for them to address it by the end of this series, being like, she's alive. Here's our next movie that comes out in 2026.
Yeah, that would be fun. A Scarlet Witch will return, Sting at the end of the
Oh
show.
yeah, oh my god, that would be so sad that it's not Agatha's name, but I would be like, I will flip my entire couch if it says Wanda will return. I'll be like, she wasn't even in this! She wasn't even in the series! I'd be into it.
So do you think in the Witch's Row there's gonna be some creepy stop motion puppet one? It's just like in shadow and you never see her face, and she's like, it goes real fast with the camera, like the nun. Or like Mama.
Or
Mama.
Multiverse of Madness when she comes out.
yeah,
of the
okay.
hair,
And you don't need Elizabeth Olsen to do that. You can just, you already own your
use the
likeness.
clean plate that they had.
Yeah.
I think
Doctor Strange.
they kind of already revealed that in the trailer with Rio Vidal when she comes out of the ground and she's like breaking herself in two, and then she's like, "Hey, where's the party at?" She's like, "What's everybody up to?" Yeah, it'd be. I'm excited to see what horror parts they're gonna take from the other movies.
I would like to see. We've seen a lot of depictions of the Witch's Road, and I have a question in here about that in a second. But I want like a pure, just like at least one episode of like true horror genre. Get a little bit of that in Multiverse of Madness, a little bit of that in Werewolf by Night. But like, I would love for Marvel Studios to just say like, we're gonna do horror right now.
Yeah.
It's gonna be all horror.
I hope. I just don't. I feel like they missed the ship if they had Sam Raimi, the person that does horror, not even do horror.
Well, they had some scary parts of Multiverse of
Yeah.
Madness. Like, it was was it Marvel's scariest film?
Technically.
Like, just from the vibes that it had in some scenes?
Yeah.
I think in totality, I do think that the sequence in Spider-Man Far From Home, the like Mysterio sequence where he sees the like hand of Tony Stark. Like,
But I
that
think
was
it's I was like, but I think Sam Raimi was like, oh, this entire burnt down forest, everything's gray, everything's like burnt orange. Is like, this is fear. This is supposed to be a scary movie.
Yeah.
I think
she's
that's
breaking
the
into
scariest.
Camartage, and she's like,
that
she was
part,
seeing
and
through the
she's
gong.
like, run. That I think
I
they
wish she'd whisper that in my ear.
run.
I mean, just so I could, because guys, just a moment ago when I did that act out, I'm so sore, and I think I need her in my ear to saying "run" today. Just a good 2.2 mile run, please.
We're
She's
not
like,
sponsored by
Jesus
for you.
Christ.
I'm horribly out of
Stretch,
shape.
why don't you?
Just stretch a little bit.
Hey, we were talking about this earlier in the office today, and we've talked about this a lot over the past few weeks. Marvel's marketing has been really bizarre with one specific element. We called that out in like a video title a couple of weeks ago, and that is like Joe Locke's character Teen. They've only referred to him as Teen in press. They've only Joe Locke has come on and said like that's what it said in the script, all this kind of stuff. And then last week or maybe the week before, there was a trailer that came out online that had a subtitles bit that had him labeled as Billy, right? So my question for you guys is sort of like, why the coy marketing decisions? Was this a slip up? Is it actually going to be Billy Kaplan? Where are we with Joe Locke's teen character? Do you think it's a different Billy? Is it misdirection? Something like that?
That's a good question. I'm dying. Sorry.
no.
It's this. I almost said Aloha. It's Alani. Drink Alani. Sorry, they sent it to us.
It'll kill you.
No,
it's good.
That's a good question. I don't. It's interesting because I think they're just trying to keep it all a secret. Also, to their testament, saying out loud that this is Billy Kaplan, everyone's gonna come with their idea of what Billy Kaplan should be and where he should be going. The closest thing we have to a Hulkling right now is Hulk's son, which we do not want to pair with Joe Locke immediately. So I think they're just like, we wanted to keep it at bay. This was supposed to be a surprise reveal for this character. Jack Schaefer made it sound like every single character not only is gonna have their own trial, but have their own arc where they come to a conclusion at the end of like, oh, this was actually the realization I should have had like ages ago. And I think that was a part of Joe Locke's teen story. And to like reveal it is like shit. We didn't want everyone to know immediately that he's Billy because his entire arc is figuring out that he is Billy.
I think that's what I like. I think it might be part of his character that he doesn't know who he is or what his name is. And when he says his name and it does that like squiggly thing, I don't even know if that's part of the marketing. Maybe that's a curse that has been put upon him or something like that, where he can't physically say his own name or he doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, he doesn't know who he is. I mentioned that in the breakdown going over the tarot cards because his is the Tower. And, I assume that his was the Tower card, which is always like, you're going to be forced to see things that you don't want to see. And I was like, oh, he probably does not know who he is. And his entire premise was just like going to Agatha to be like, can you help me figure out? I know something deep down. And it's going to be him forced to realize that like, oh, here's my past. This is why I don't remember it. I'm actually Billy Kaplan.
I wonder if like he could represent some kind of historic curse. I love this idea that he doesn't know who he is. Let's run with that. Like, I wonder if like at some point she was bound to this child, or she, back in the Salem times, accidentally led to this kid's death. Or maybe this was just like a friend or who loved her, or like a little brother to her back in Salem times who just died, and then but he doesn't realize that like he has been like respawning throughout history, or that he just has some connection to Agatha in some way. Yes, maybe his name is Billy, and maybe they're just establishing a new origin story for Billy Kaplan, but like there's more to it. It's not like the Billy Kaplan we know from the comics. It's like a new kind of Billy Kaplan who the reason he's so obsessed with witchcraft is that he was there in Salem and he died, and that because he died, that's why she was labeled a witch, and that she was just like, fine, I'm going to embrace this witchcraft and make it part of my identity, because you guys have labeled me as this kind of evil figure who let this kid drown or something like that.
Something that I love in movies and television shows, and something that happened in Avengers Endgame, is when you get to see a new perspective of an old scene via a flashback or whatever. I would love to see that same scene of Agatha kind of siphoning power from the coven that she was a part of in the Salem days, and you just see like a POV shot of Billy, or if I need your guys' help with something. He's been labeled as like Agatha's familiar, right? Is it not true that normally a familiar is like an animal?
Yeah.
Often it is, yeah.
So do we think that he'll have some kind of like shape-shifting ability or anything like that? Is he...
Well, there's a shot of him holding the rabbit in the trailer.
Okay,
I thought that too. I was like, maybe he's the rabbit.
Well, he could still be an offspring of one of the Salem 7 or the Salem whatever, because they're the ones that are going to be in the movie or in the series that transform from animals. They have like an owl and a frog and different versions of them. And if one of them was Billy Kaplan, he probably just turns into an animal. He doesn't know that he's an animal yet. It also would be interesting to like go in further for if Jack Schaefer wanted to be like, oh yeah, how was it perceived for like a male boy on that as the Salem 7? Like the Salem 7 all had clearly daughters, but what if one was Billy? And it was just like, powers don't work the same through you. I feel like that's something they're probably going to talk about, because every witch in this show has been a woman so far. So I'm like, oh yeah, talk to us. Is he still a witch? Is it a warlock? Are we just like ignoring that?
That's a good point. I think in some of these interviews, like Joe Locke has even said like, I'm a witch as well. And he's like, we're all just calling each other witches. Yeah. And I think there's like some intentionality to that. Like the fact that he is a boy, but he's part of this cast. He's like the one male in the group. Yeah. Do we think, like, why did the other witches of the Salemites turn on Agatha? They were pretty vague about it in WandaVision. Remember, like, you learn power beyond what you should be learning. And she goes, I was just curious. And I wonder if, like, as part of her pursuit of greater power, maybe she went too far and she led to this kid's death or something like that. There were those waterfalls in the background, you know? And we compared it to like the Wakandan Falls, Warrior Falls. Right. That is just an interesting rite of passage for both these two different societies that are involved with sorcery, are both kind of with this waterfall background, and if there might have been a connection there. Yeah, maybe that's where Billy drowned.
Oh yeah, they drowned him. I only laugh because that's one of the many trials that they gave those people, and they were just like, if you survived, you're a witch, but if you died, you weren't a witch. Right. Too late to tell us.
Yeah, they burned them, they tried to hang them, and then if you survived, you're a witch, and that's how we know. We'll try it again.
In that one room with the studio recording that we see in the trailer, they have like the paintings of like how they used to trial all the women, and that'd be interesting. Just to continue with your point, if each of them like died, or like Agatha was at the hands of their deaths that way, and Billy is like one of the many photos on the wall.
That'd be cool.
I want there to be a lot to Billy, because I know the lure from what we're seeing, the lure, whatever the lure that we're getting so far is him being like, oh, it's in the costume, it's there, you just have to look closer, and the only thing you can see in his like clothes is stars and the Taurus symbol. And I'm like, I don't think this is helping me, Joe Locke. I don't know why you want us to pay attention to your wardrobe, but I'm trying to figure out if the stars have anything to do with Billy's character.
Yeah, it's like the pentagram with the circle, but that's just such a common like occult symbol that I don't know if there's anything more specific to that.
What if he is just the devil? What if he's just a demon sent?
Like, he could be Mephisto.
Oh my god. If they switch it up, I'll be okay with it. If they make him Mephisto, I'll be okay with it.
I mean, let's talk about that, right? There was an interview, and maybe you remember the details better than I do, where someone said one of the characters that people thought was going to be in season 1 gets referenced in episode 3 of Agatha, right? And we've all made the assumption that that's probably Mephisto. That seems like the character that people, outside of maybe like actually having some version of Quicksilver show up, right? That seems
like
kind of
actual Quicksilver,
right outside of Wanda's kind of like perception, not Ralph Boner. That seems like the go-to character that fans were speculating about, right? And so that character's gonna be referenced in this show. We've heard through the trades, but I don't think through Marvel officially, that Sacha Baron Cohen has been cast as Mephisto and to appear in Ironheart. There were some rumors that he would appear in Agatha, but again, nothing from anyone particularly reliable. So, like, how is that going to look, right? And there's also been speculation that maybe they have kind of like removed some of the Mephisto stuff from Ironheart because of Sasha and who he is. So, to your point about, hey, maybe he's just Mephisto, like, how involved do you think Mephisto is going to be in this show?
Not very.
Just a throwaway line?
I think it will just be a throwaway line. That's just based off of the way Jamie Durack asked that question to Mary Lavanos. And Mary Lavanos gave a non-answer, but I think...
Is that the producer?
Yeah. And I think Jamie wouldn't have asked that question if it was a big spoiler.
Right.
I think she just asked that like, hey, so this name was just thrown out there. Did you just include this as just to appease the fans who were speculating? So I think he's going to get a name drop. But my thinking is that, well, just because he gets name dropped in episode 3, I mean, anyone who has seen the screeners for this has only seen up through episode 4. There's still 5 more episodes after that, and a character can get name dropped in a scene in episode 3 to like set the table for a bigger appearance later on. I just think for what this show seems to be, based off of the Witches Road and the cast that they have, they don't need Mephisto in this show.
No, and also the cast is just like a bunch of these great women that you can tell their characters are going to one-off lines of like, it will either be Rio Vidal or Patty LuPone's character being like, yeah, I was in hell once and I saw him. Like, and then they'll keep talking about whatever they're talking about. When you said that, I was trying to figure out what that episode would look like. And if the first episode is around like, and this might not help answer the question, but if the first episode is them preparing to go to the Riches Road, Jack Schaefer, I don't know if it's true, Jack Schaefer said in an interview the first trial was going to be Sashir Zamata's, Jennifer Kales' trial. And that's probably the second episode. So then I was like, the fourth episode is the studio recording session. What's the third episode that they would mention a one-off character? And it's probably gonna be Mephisto, but it's probably Rio Vidal.
Maybe that's when they do the Ouija board.
Oh yeah.
So they're saying different names of demons.
Yep.
Mephisto.
You're right. You're all right.
I think that sounds right to me. I was thinking about, we're gonna get to some Darkhold stuff in a minute here, and obviously, like, did they mention Chthon in Multiverse of Madness?
Yeah, he got
by
named.
name. So I think it might be something like that, where it's like they're talking about something or someone, and it's just sort of like, oh, this Mephisto was the creator of this thing, or this was born out of Mephisto, or something like that. That makes the most.
I mean, that would be more than. I mean, if they say it that way, my mind's gonna be blown, because I'm really just thinking that they're gonna list a bunch of like goofy names. The way, remember in Loki when Morbius was like, well, in the past the TVA has gotten vampires and werewolves and scrolls, and like he just listed them, and then we move on from it. But if they say something with lore, like this Darkhold was like, a foreword for the Darkhold was written there were some Dead Sea Scrolls of the Darkhold that were written by Mephisto, and we gotta go find them. I'm gonna be like,
thank you. I imagine it's literally one line where Rio's like, I dated him once. I moved on. I'm a new person.
Well, look, whatever happens, we're gonna be here to talk about that exact thing. Jessica, Eric, myself, Brandon, Zach, Evan, we're all going to be talking about Agatha all month of October, a little bit in September.
The month?
We're going to be talking about that all along. So subscribe to the Breakroom. Subscribe to New Rockstars. Eric and Jessica are also going to be talking about Agatha all along a lot on the New Rockstars channel. We got you covered everywhere. We're going to be we're gonna be blasting you with content. And so it's gonna be really fun.
I didn't laugh.
We're gonna blast you. It's gonna be a great month here at New Rockstars to be a fan. It's a good time to be a fan in general. We also want to thank Mando, which honestly we're so stoked about. Since they've started sponsoring Breakroom, we've all been sneaking home products from the office. I didn't even write this, and that is true. I snuck home product from the office. It turns out we love it. My personal favorite is Mando's 4-in-1. It's Mando's 4-in-1. It's like a 5-ounce bar that does the work of shampoo, face wash, body wash, and deodorant. You got one bar, you do it all. It's clinically proven and formulated with gentle alpha hydroxy acid that stops the odor at the source. Jessica and I have been traveling a lot for work. And so it's been helpful to just have like one thing to take with me, and it kind of covers my bases. We went to a hotel in Germany, and they did not provide.
They did not provide any of that.
But I had my Mando bar.
They said be stanky.
I was good to go. Yeah, we were at a convention. Everyone else was
my
stanky.
God, those
We
stanks.
were Mando to the bone.
We got those Mandos up. Man do's. They said man don't. I said man do.
Where did you find this soap?
I said, and I looked at that person's armpit. I just waited. Let me tell you,
in our hotel.
a gaming convention in that heat, and no one was wearing stuff except for me and John.
Except for us, baby. Hey, and do I know what that means when I was referring to all those hydroxy acid, alpha hydroxy stuff? No. But a doctor developed it, and I know from personal experience that it works. It'll control your body odor for a full 24 hours. If you haven't used Mando before, start with a starter pack. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant. That's the one that I snuck home. 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash and deodorant wipes. Wipes, so convenient, throw them in your car. And it comes with free shipping. And yes, we do have a discount code to help you get hooked on our favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code BREAKROOM at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. This video is also sponsored by Helix Sleep. Guess what? All 3 of us have a Helix mattress. I've been using my Helix mattress for years, and I won't shut up about it because I love it that much. I stole it from Zach. That's not a bit. I literally stole it from him. And now that Helix Sleep is having a Labor Day sale, this is the perfect opportunity for you to get yourself a brand new perfect mattress for 25% off. That's a whole quarter. For you math heads out there, man. It's so easy. It's so easy too. Thanks to Helix Sleep Quiz. You take the quiz, Helix finds out your perfect mattress. You put in stuff like, you know, do you want a softer mattress? Do you want a firmer mattress? Do you sleep with a partner? Et cetera, et cetera. They'll dial it in for you. Do you sleep hot? Do you sleep cold? I wanted a firm mattress with lumbar support that sleeps cool because it has been toasty in LA and it's only getting toastier. And I got matched with the Dusk Luxe Helix mattress. I've had it for years now and it is fantastic. This is not like this is written for me, but like genuinely, the mattress was a huge upgrade, and I texted Zach and told him I stole it, and it's improved my sleep so much. I fall asleep so fast, and I wake up feeling much more rested than I used to, so that I can come back into this office and write more bits about Agatha for all of you. Helix offers 20 unique mattresses, including the award-winning Luxe and Ultra Premium Elite collections. Helix Plus for big and tall sleepers. My little feet dangle off my bed. And the Helix Kids mattress. That's true.
And my feet
That's
still
true.
dangle off my
I need a longer mattress. That's the one thing, and it's standard sizes, so it's not Helix's fault. My little feet dangle off my bed.
Oh my God.
Hank licks them and
Ooh.
why am I reading this? Helix.
Hank is not his dog. It's a man.
It's a man named Hank. He comes into my home. He licks my feet, and then he goes under the Helix mattress. And I have a second Helix mattress. He has a second Helix mattress under the bed, and he wakes up feeling really fresh too.
You guys call him the boogeyman. I call him Hank.
That's right.
Now, if you want to get Helix Hank, you got to pay that extra 25%. You don't.
That's
get
true. That's true. It's not part of the Labor Day sale.
Yeah.
Helix does deliver your mattress right to your door with free shipping in the United States. The mattress comes rolled up in a box, super easy to set up yourself. Helix has a 100-night sleep trial. Hey, that's 3 months plus 10 days. So you'll get more than... I'm just trying to make Jessica cringe this whole read.
I'm not cringing. That's funny.
Helix has a 100-night sleep trial, so you get more than 3 months to make sure you love that mattress. And their mattresses have a 10-year warranty. I'm not even close to the end of my warranty, and I'm still sleeping like a baby. Pile that on top of Helix's financing options and flexible payment plans, and a great night's sleep is never far away. Again, I love my Helix mattress, and I think you would too. If you're looking for a new bed, check out Helix Sleep. Their Labor Day sale is running now, and it's the perfect time to upgrade your sleep with 25% off a Helix mattress. I assume the Labor Day sale is still happening.
Oh, it might.
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes they go through the end of
Nerd Riot
September.
Team. That's not for this ad read, though. Helix Mattress. Click the link below or go to helixsleep.com to find out more about this limited time offer. Also, check out nerdriot.shop. I got a shirt.
I got
Eric's
a shirt.
got a shirt.
I got a shirt.
Jessica's got a shirt.
It's my shirt.
And we all got them from nerdriot.shop. That's the whole plug.
Yeah.
We got a blade design. We got new mask, same task. We got choose your fighter.
I love this.
There's
some
a
Agatha
symbiote
designs
design,
up
an
there. Oh,
Agatha
yeah.
design, the blood moon.
You guys, we got you covered. If you're a fan.
Yeah, you can get tanks, tank tops,
tank.
crop tops, long tops, bong tops.
You get Hank tops.
Hank
You get
tops.
Hank tops.
Yeah, well,
Hank
Hank tops
tops.
are just a normal shirt that you have to tie a little knot in the back so you can fit it.
Hank hops into his Hank tops.
They come covered in peanut butter.
Thanks, stops.
He just keeps licking it.
This was a conversation that we were having on a call with the whole content team last week. There's a new shot of the Darkhold in Agatha trailer footage. And me and Brandon, you know, we have sort of a storied history that we have this fight, an ongoing fight about the Darkhold. I don't know if you're familiar or filled in. Here's the thing. I think Agatha has had the Darkhold back to her Salem days. And that is maybe tied into why she was ostracized. He thinks he got it more recently than that. Brandon thinks she got it more recently than that. Who knows when? I don't know what he's thinking.
Yeah, what's his evidence?
I don't know.
Let's call him.
Great question.
I agree with you, John. I think she got the Darkhold long ago. I don't know if she had it in Salem times.
I thought that was the book. Well, she could have been practicing dark magic regardless. But
That's
I
his
thought
argument.
that was but I thought the Salem book was the Darkhold book because that was the reason they were like, we told you not to touch that book because now you're going crazy.
I just don't think they referenced the book in that scene. I had a Mandela
you're right.
effect.
I think you're right.
Memory where I thought you see that book in the scene, but you
No.
don't. She takes the brooch. That's the one prop of the scene is the brooch. And she just says, I use the magic beyond my powers. Just, you know, I thought I was just experimenting. She says stuff like that.
And then
But
she
they
was
don't
like,
reference
hang
the book.
loose.
And we thought that it was the book. We thought that she found the
Right.
book or something
I
like
just
that.
yeah, which I mean, what other magic is she? That'd be annoying if they bring in another dark magic that isn't the book from the Darkhold. if that makes sense.
Hold on, because the Darkhold has been destroyed in every universe,
Yeah, yeah.
according to Stephen Strange. I think that's who says that, right? And so we get the shot of the book. Is it in a flashback? Was Agatha doing that thing where she takes a crayon and she's kind of going over all the pages in the Darkhold, so she's got a carbon copy of everything, and that's her own little personal copy of the Darkhold. It's not bound by the same kind of magic.
Did it not look like it was a baby? Or like it was in a crib?
It did look like it was kind of in a crib, and our editor
Yeah.
Drew made that joke. But it was a tight shot, so it's hard to get context from it. So my question, I guess, is going to be, you know,
I wish I could see an image.
does she somehow find a way to recover the Darkhold or have a copy? Is this a flashback? What's the story there? Is she able to maybe go to a multiverse version of Wondergore and kind of get another copy, something like that?
Well, I was looking at that trailer footage too. Was it a baby crib? Was it a gurney? Like, was it maybe they lift the corpse cloth off of the corpse and
Wanda
it becomes
Yeah.
the book?
It
Was
becomes
that the
a
butt doctor and kind of came out, slid
the
out.
BBL Darkhold.
Well, like the Kathan initially wrote the words that would be inscribed into the Darkhold just on the walls of the temple.
Right.
So if you can assemble the rubble of the temple, you basically have the original print of the Darkhold just on the walls of it. So I wonder if someone could, you know, the way they kind of reconstructed pieces of ancient ruins for museums, you could have some kind of some not archaeologist, right? It's a anthropologist can kind of reassemble the pieces of the Darkhold temple and like reinscribe the book that way.
Also, but in film and television, and maybe in a Marvel project, we've seen, you take broken thing and with magic recreate it or reconstitute it, put it back together.
Vision, right? That's what we
Yeah.
did with Vision.
You know, so is it possible that that's some possible way of recovery?
Yeah.
I feel like you could probably piece back the book, but you still need that like core magic to restart it. It's like a car. You can fix a car, but you gotta start the engine. And then watch it not work still. So I feel like you'd still, even if she repaired it, you'd still need to like have either Wanda or someone that was equally as powerful to restart that magic to make it work again. The Darkhold. I assumed it was what you were saying, like it was the gurney scene. It's probably in her memory as Rio's like, claw your way out. She's like, okay, it's coming back to me. Oh shit, what's this dark looking book? And I think it's in those little like bubble flashbacks she's getting.
Yeah, I think like whatever constitutes the Darkhold, it's not like paper that was taken from trees or anything like that. It's some kind of sorcery. It's some witchcraft that's beyond what Doctor Strange understands. So yes, he can say that we burned all the copies of the books, but you know there's gonna be some source, some wellspring of that dark magic that only the witches have the access to. So I wonder if like one of the witches' trials down the witches' road like allows you to regain the Darkhold, and maybe that's what Agatha is after. Like that ultimately she wants to reactivate her powers
100%.
by reading the Darkhold, which would make you right. Basically, if she initially got her powers by reading this forbidden text, it's just I hope we revisit that Salem scene and show that she had the Darkhold or something.
I think
more to it.
we're gonna revisit the Salem scene. I don't know if the book's gonna be in it, and that's the only reason why I'm like I know Jack Schaefer's gonna clear out like some questions that we have, like, oh, can I see the Darkhold at the Salem thing? Because if she is also working on the Wanda movie, I'm like, looks like you're the Wanda expert, so you need to answer these questions for us.
Yeah.
Like, was there the book at the Darkhold? Is she now dead? Is Joe Locke actually gonna be Billy Kaplan? And I think she's gonna get all those answers out during Agatha. I really, really hope she does. If she doesn't, she has burnt me.
Well, I guess that's, another big question that I had. I didn't really include it in our prep questions here, but I'll ask it now. I think at one point, Teen says, like, the Witch's Road, completing the Witch's Road will give you what you most desire, something along those lines, right? And, my question has always kind of been like, okay, well, what is that for Agatha? Is that for her to become the Scarlet Witch? Is that for her to become, is it just for her to get some of her power back? Is it to get the Darkhold? Like, what is her want? We don't really know what it is.
And to add on to that, not to make it more confusing, why didn't she do it earlier? It feels like she wanted Wanda to do all these things, and I'm like, yeah, I feel like you could have skipped all that dance if you just went down the Witch's Road and made a coven way before she did the Westview stuff. Why are you doing it now?
Yeah, I wonder what Agatha's status was before she arrived in Westview.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was she living her best life, and then was she like someone who could have retired in that moment, but she's like, oh, actually, there's this one rare Pokemon I've never caught, and this is my chance to catch it. And so she's driven by that kind of insatiable thirst for power, and the Scarlet Witch is something that she thought was mythologized, would never happen. So maybe now she's like, well, I think this Scarlet Witch, this Wanda Maximoff's lining up to be the Scarlet Witch that I've read about in this Bible that I have. I should probably interfere here, but I wonder if she feels like that was an overstep and she actually helped Wanda get there. Because really, Wanda needed Agatha's power to be able to power up there.
Yeah.
I don't know if she would have become the Scarlet Witch without Agatha. So I wonder if Agatha feels like she overstepped and she's like, I kind of just want to get back to where I was around in 2022.
Yeah.
And everything was fine.
When I was 5, let me get my powers back. Let me get those little black fingertips.
Yeah, she just wants that smoky finger.
Let me get them tips. I bought little witch fingers here, but I want to put my black eyeshadow on them before we use them.
Fingertips.
They're here. We'll do it for
the after
Thursday.
show.
Yeah. And if you can put them on, take them off, whatever you want to do.
Amazing.
We should have made a Darkhold, but sorry.
There's still time.
There's still time. But yeah, it's like because. That was like the first thing I thought about when I saw the trailer. I was like, why didn't she go to the Witch's Road ages ago? I was like, I feel like she could have gone with people that she could have got Scarlet Witch to go. She could have got Wanda to go with her as a coven. She could have been like, hey, you want to come with me on this? And then you can get your robot boyfriend back actually at the end of it. Like, come on.
You know what the MCU mythology needs is a good spiritual tree. We don't have a tree.
What?
The
We
Yggdrasil?
have 2 trees.
What are you talking about?
Yggdrasil
Idrisa. Sorry, I
and
can't say it.
the Loki tree, which is
But they
basically
haven't
Yggdrasil.
led into it enough. And my hope is that Yggdrasil can become that. But I mean, like, So the Lord of the Rings mythology has trees are very important between
Absolutely.
The two trees of
Ents?
Valinor, and then yes, the Ents are also part of that network, and then now we have like the Numenorian tree that becomes the tree in Gondor, and Star Wars has Uneti trees, has forest trees. The Tusken Raiders have trees. There was the tree in the Acolyte that, now people are gonna be like, fuck that tree. But like, I think there's like, trees are awesome, and I love the concept of trees. And there's been several opportunities for Marvel to make Groot matter even more than he does by suggesting he could be, they made his arm the handle of Stormbreaker. And I think like Marvel has presented the tree, the Yggdrasil, but it's only ever been important to the Asgardians.
Yeah, I was gonna also say, arguably, there's too much freedom with Marvel. Not to say that that's a bad thing, but like everybody that's working on their scripts get to work on and direct it, and I don't think all of them have the same vision of a tree. Does that make sense? Yeah. Like in Star Wars, we're like especially in Lord of the Rings, it's like, hey, don't just burn a tree. These trees are very important. Like, it's clear that it's like, oh, these trees are important. It sounds like in Star Wars, they're like, yeah, trees are important. In Marvel, it's like, the guy that did Shang-Chi is like, I don't really care about trees. They just have, I don't know if they're going to make it a very important thing, but I know what you're coming from. And they should have something that's like that symbolic, because they even no one watched the Groot show except for maybe me. But at the end, did you watch it? Okay, at the end of the Groot show, the Watcher was like, this is the most important being right here. Yeah. And it's Groot. And we never talk about it again.
they don't care. They're so spread out. And, one hand doesn't know what the other's doing. The pieces are there, but they refuse to connect them. Except for Yggdrasil at the end of Loki season 2. And the fact that we see that at the end of What If season 2, I think is really, really cool, because just having a good tree analog could explain everything with the multiverse if they just choose to do it. But in every other property, they won't do it.
Well, maybe they also think like, oh, that's just a Loki tree. Like, that's a Loki thing.
They're just like, that's Loki's thing. But like, no, you could just say that to any mythology, from Moon Knight to Wakanda to everywhere to where people are talking spiritually, just make reference to a tree that connects everything, and then leave it at that. And then someone else will do the work to connect it.
Tree for witches, 100% too. It's like, yeah, it should be jumping. That should be a jump. That should literally be a branch.
Like we see the tree in the Agatha All Along art, right? Like tree branches are very important to it. And then when Wanda was in her orchard, she was pruning trees and pulling apples off of a tree. I just think like, if you were to ask a Marvel Studios executive, they'd give you some kind of cryptic like, oh yeah, I don't really know what that is. And it would be great if one of them had a fucking opinion about any of the production design that their artists come up with.
I think, sorry, we're on the tree topic so much. I like when it comes to occult
tree
things.
Talk with Erik Voss. I got worked up.
I love when it comes to witch stuff. It's like, oh yeah, we get a lot of our powers from the earth. And that was a piece of me is like, that's also probably why they're like, we haven't made it too much about trees and Agatha's, because witches are really like symbolic for the earth and how they're getting their powers. Whereas Loki is just literally a tree. Like, he's literally physically a tree that holds time. And this is like, oh, well, we're more about earth and dirt and all these things. But I do like the idea that they could just connect everything with the tree. I don't think they're going to do it anytime soon.
I mean, Game of Thrones has done it with the weirwood trees, right? House of the Dragon is even
or maybe
now Game of Thrones through a tree.
Maybe they think what you're thinking, and they're like, everybody already got it. I already did it. What's a different thing of a tree? What's a different tree thing that we could do? The Marvel
bush.
No.
Trees are cool. It's like everyone will just accept, because I don't think people who are watching Star Wars and Game of Thrones are gonna be like, wait, another tree.
Wait, another tree. They already got enough trees.
Too many trees. Another human?
What the hell is this?
I want a story about a cat.
What is this, Captain Planet? Get the shit out of here.
Speaking of the trees and sort of like how the Witch's Road looks, we've seen like a lot of different looks from the Witch's Road. We've seen sort of like a yellow brick road thing. We've seen kind of like a house, like almost like a psycho house at the end of the hill type of thing.
Psycho house.
Been like a lot of different looks of this Witch's Road, leading me to kind of, think, oh, different trials are probably associated with different looks or whatever it is. Do you guys, maybe this is a reach. Calm me down if you need to. This is the multiverse saga. Do you think that that's just illusion magic and the Force is able to kind of change its look based on its trial? Or do you think that they could possibly be going to different universes and having to conquer the Witch's Road in different places or different aspects to get different artifacts or something like that?
I think that would be fun. I assumed it was the first one where it's like the illusion they're creating, and I love the idea of also seeing that be like they're at the camp doing the Ouija board, but that house transforms into the Sandy Beach front property, and then it changes into this one, and I'm like, ooh. This thing isn't even playing. This is just all like horror. This is hell. This is like the 9th level of hell. I'm like, this is. I would love to see that. But I also like I like your second idea.
There was like an explanation of mythology that we were toying with when we were talking about Thor: Love and Thunder that we just kind of left behind because we're all ready to leave Thor: Love and Thunder behind. But there's this concept of it's kind of like Santa logic. Or Tinkerbell logic. Your belief in something makes it real. So with the Asgardians, like their power as Thor comes from having people who worship them as gods. And without a mass of people, a society of people who worship them, they literally do not exist. That's kind of like the logic on which a lot of the gods of the Marvel Universe are based, not including Celestials, but like gods that are kind of based in mythology. And witches and even Mephisto are kind of grounded in cultural mythology in a similar way. So I wonder if the Witch's Road could kind of operate on that kind of level where people's cultural associations with witchcraft, be it the Salem witch trials, Harry Potter, the Wicked Witch of the West, The Craft, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and Charmed, all of these things kind of feed into this Witch's Road because society has kind of associated witches and witchcraft with these pop cultural images, and that kind of seeps down to the ground soil and just kind of flows down into this Witch's Road setting, and it's all just kind of it manifests into these different pop cultural shapes.
Yeah, and I think that itself is almost its own horror trope, which is like the scary thing takes on your biggest nightmare. It's not presenting itself as necessarily like generally scary, but like if you grew up with a certain type of witchcraft, that is what the Witch's Road is projecting to you.
Yeah,
because that's your biggest fear.
The Boggart, right?
Right.
Harry Potter Boggart, or Pennywise is supposed to take the form of your greatest fear in the It mythology.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Okay, well, my last question for you guys is a series finale question. Catherine Hahn came out and bristled when she was referred to as when Agatha was referred to as a side character. She has her own show, Catherine Hahn.
Oh, Catherine Hahn, sorry.
She has her own show. Of course, she's not a side character now. She's a main character. My question for you is, in the totality of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where is Agatha at the end of this show? Is this a one and done? Is she gonna be at her own little lake house reading the Darkhold at the end of this, looking for Wanda, perhaps? Does she have to make some kind of ultimate sacrifice and ends up, not being around anymore? Where do you guys think Agatha's story ends at the finale of this show?
I don't know. At first, I felt like I probably would have known until I saw, because they were clearly moving out and pushing out the old superheroes that we knew. Like Thor is like now a dad, and these ones are going over there, and here's these ones. Like now it's Shuri, and also Winston C. Duke's character in Black Panther. So I was like, oh, they're like kind of pushing these older ones out and putting the new ones in to kind of replace them. Like I thought we'd get more Kate Bishop than we would Hawkeye. Just like I thought we'd see more Miss Marvel than Captain Marvel. And that's how I kind of felt with this. I was like, oh, they're gonna push out Wanda so we get more Agatha, and Agatha will now replace Wanda as our like spiritual whatever person, our Madam Web, if you will. A better version. I'm joking, but now I'm like, I don't know, because I can see Jack Schaefer and the team being like, I don't want to follow the same trope that the other 5 movies just did. Clearly, like Doctor Strange is like, yeah, I'm gonna go over into this other dimension. I'm gone. So it's like I don't want. I can see Jack Schaefer being like, I don't want Wanda to be completely gone, but maybe this could be a team up, not like a team up, but like two magicians are better than one, if that makes sense. So I can see Wanda and her coming back after Wanda's movie and then being like a dual witch team, kind of in a way. You have to work in a coven, so it makes sense for Agatha to still be working with Wanda or someone else.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a reflection of their relationship in the comics, sometimes antagonistic, but sometimes Agatha is more of a mentor figure to Wanda, and so I would hate to see them that this be the end of Agatha.
Just to echo what you just said too. Oh my God, to echo what you said, in the comics how she kind of like went to Agatha. Agatha was kind of like that not morality, but like advice person, just a helper. I was like, I can still see that playing out, especially because witches are really strong as a coven, and Scarlet Witch is literally a witch, but she does not know what the basis of being an actual witch is.
She's not hundreds of years old.
Yeah. She's not Jennifer Kale. She's not. It looks like Joe Locke's gonna be ahead of her now because he's like actually in a coven working with people. So I'm like, oh, she does not know like the history of who she actually is. And I could see her coming to terms with Agatha, being like, how do I do this? And it's like, well, you actually need our help.
I have 2 pitches for a post-credit scene. Well, let's say a boring one where it's just like she's just living her life back in Salem, and like it's an implication that her whole life throughout the past 400 years has been a dream.
Eric, don't.
She wakes up like Dorothy in the bed, right? That's the kind of But one is, let's say she is like she's in some kind of dungeon and it's scary and spooky, and she's walking down and then she opens something and there's a red glowing stone and you hear a voice behind her say, "Are you sure you're ready for that, Mrs. Harkness?" And he turns around and it's Mahershala Ali Blade, and it's Elsa Bloodstone, and that's her Bloodstone, and then she joins whatever the next incarnation of the Midnight Suns of Blade is. That's one pitch. Another version is, say she's driving, because we know in the shots there's like a Mare of Easttown shot of her where she's just driving, humming the Witch's Road. We see her in another car, but it's just like interior in the car, and she's humming the Witch's Road ballad. But then you realize that she's like a soccer mom, or she's like in a carpool, and she's picking up some kids from school. The van door slides open. In hop Franklin and Valeria Richards.
Oh my God.
And she is the governess through the Richards family now. Car door closes. It's a floating car, and it flies off to the Manhattan skyline of the Fantastic Four First Steps universe, because that's where she was introduced into Marvel Comics in 1969 as the governess of the Richards family. And she's going to tie into this alternate universe of Fantastic Four First Steps, and Herbie's now in the passenger seat. And it's like,
to give her the most powerful job, and then to be like, now you're a governess. Is insanity.
But to the most powerful family has the
I guess the butler for the Obamas felt very great.
You mean Michelle's mother? This is the most powerful voice in that family.
The one thing I hate about working with you, Eric, is that you can say the craziest shit I've ever heard that is dumb and makes no sense and immediately justify it. It pisses me off so much. Because I was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And you were like, and that's where she was introduced in the comics. And I'm like, well, fuck.
Where Jack Schaefer doesn't really go with. So maybe they won't do it.
Hey, maybe
I don't mind it, but I would fucking hate it. But I think I would hate it just because I'm like, don't make the strongest woman. If this is a female ran show, do not make her the governess to the freaking Fantastic Four. But if they want to do it, they can do it.
What's more powerful, a governess or a nosy neighbor? This is still
She's not the nosy neighbor anymore. She's now the leader of a coven. She has become her own.
Well, I don't think she's good. Well, that's interesting. Because one of the things that happens in the trailer is that she says, like, she doesn't want to be a part of a coven, right? So maybe that's her arc, is she is anti-coven at the beginning, and then by the end of it, she's like, okay, well, these people helped me do all the things that I needed to do, and we became kind of like a second family. And so maybe she does end up still having a coven by the end of it.
I think she's still going to be in the coven. Well, only because Jack Schaefer said in that interview, like, that her cold, dead heart's gonna crumble away, and she's gonna like find love in these people. So it's like, yeah, I think they're gonna be meant to stay there forever. It's more about the fans that are probably gonna be like, I don't want to see these people anymore, and then that's where we don't see Sashio Zamata or Patty Lupone that much anymore. But I don't know.
I didn't say she's a nanny. I didn't say she becomes part of the Stony Brook Babysitters Club. I said that she becomes Mary Poppins, Mary Poppins, the most powerful sorceress in the Disney canon. She flies to the heavens,
Mary Poppins,
and she can telekinetically scare Jane and Michael into taking their medicine. And she sings creepy songs about bird women. That's the fate I want for Agatha Harkness, is to sing the Ballad of the Witch's Road and scare this powerful mega level mutant into winning the Secret Wars by listening to her advice as a child. Look, that's not going to happen. Let's be honest. There's going to be something completely different. You asked me what I think. This is what's in my brain.
I'm going to continue asking you what you think on episodes of the After Show as they air with every week of Agatha All Along. The first episode of that will be this Thursday, 11 a.m. Be here on Twitch or on the Breakroom YouTube channel. We're going to be here hanging out with you. Watch it at 6 p.m. Both episodes. We're going to be here to discuss them. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you come back and join us this week and through the rest of October. And hey, we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
This is
Late
Fox
as day
News.
is- What?